In a high-powered society, women can often be downplayed and ignored. We speak to wonderful women. Welcome to Wonderful Women Speak by Women Group. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Sophie.
Hello. How
Hello.
are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Yeah. Um, yes. So we are here, and we are women group. We promote women's well-being, empowerment, and spirituality. This
Mhm.
podcast will be interviewing various interesting women who are many of whom are leaders, spiritual and also healers, and possess an inner and outer strength that can inspire and help other women. So
Mhm.
today we will be speaking with Orchid of Orchid Healings. Uh,
Hello.
Hello. She is a quantum intuitive healer, and I'll let you, Orchid, I'll let you uh, introduce yourself. Just say briefly, if you can,
Mhm.
about what you do, how
Yes,
you help women. Yeah.
yes, okay. Well, I'm a quantum healer facilitator, actually. I do not do healing. What I do is I do quantum hypnosis, which allows people to go into awakened states of hypnosis so they can look into their own intuitions for answers to their questions briefly. So,
Okay. So
yeah.
looking into their own selves, you facilitate them looking into their own self to answer certain questions.
Yes, exactly. Yes, my role is really to be a facilitator. I do not give them answers other than when they ask me to channel for them,
Mm.
but I mostly guide them to explore and listen to their own intuition so they can get the answers directly through their intuition and through their senses.
It's brilliant. That is good because women and people tend to
Mhm.
they do tend to be intuitive,
Yes,
but
yes, we
may
are.
have
Yes,
lost that power.
mm,
Uh,
correct.
so I want
Yes, we all are intuitive and we just tend to lose this gift through the game of human. Basically, whenever we embrace life fully, we get into the human game and then we get focused on to work, study, and things like that. And we tend to forget to listen to our gut instinct or we tend to dismiss them. And that is basically the mistake we tend to do because our own intuition and gut feeling are the best guidance we can get through our journey.
and how have you helped women in the past? What have you done?
Well, the main help I would have done on the spiritual level was through the quantum healing facilitation. And in daily life, I would say I think I just express what we call femininity, which is caring, being loving, and then being having a good ear to women who wants to talk so that they feel heard, they feel understood, they feel validated, which is very important for all of us. And from that place, when a woman feel that that she is validated, then she can feel more entitled to express who she is. I think I help more in that sense.
That's really good.
Mhm.
That brings me into what I was going to ask. Um, do you believe in feminine spirituality?
Yes, I think this, well, to me anyway, it is linked to the ability of women to bear children.
Mm.
And in doing so, we are a gateway. We have a gateway between the two worlds, between the world where we come from and the human experience. Basically, whenever a woman bear a child, there is a spirit that comes into that body that is going to incarnate as a human being as we are.
Mm.
And in being able to bear that children, we are in that sense, we have a gateway between the two worlds within ourselves, which makes us more intuitive and which allows us to have more kind of a spiritual uh, sense of what is happening rather than being only on the 3D in the physical world.
Right. So how can women uh practice
Mhm.
this spirituality?
I would say, by first of all, by staying tuned with one intuition. It is very important to not dismiss what we sense and feel because they are our utmost um, guidance, I would say. There is no better guidance than our spirit, than our intuition and our gut feeling. And then the second point is to allow ourselves to stay caring, loving, and paying attention to others, to give that and to express that aspect rather than close up with a shell and pretend, as society can ask us to do sometimes, is to, despite that pressure, to stay in our caring and loving feeling and express our joy and basically bring all the love we can to the environment we are in.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to clarify, if a
Mhm.
woman, for whatever reason, cannot have children,
Yes.
th- th- that doesn't mean that she's lost her spirituality.
Absolutely not. It can be, there are many reasons why a woman cannot have children. It can be linked to the stress she's
Mm,
facing in this experience because the body is not just a body. The body is also a being that feel and sense. Whenever the body feel that the environment is not favorable of bearing children, the body will not bear children.
mm,
This we find most of the time in women who are desperately trying to have children
mm,
and carry on having miscarriages.
mm,
Yes, that is because the body is just not ready. It's not under the optimum condition, and it cannot. It's not a fertile ground basically to bear that children.
mm,
Another reason can be of a choice. The soul,
mm,
our soul, the energy that animates our body, can just have decided that in this incarnation it does not want to have children because it has another agenda for this incarnation, where this agenda require the soul to go alone and to have the focus on other than on caring for a child, for another being,
mm,
because caring for another being takes a lot of attention and energy, and it can be highly destructive to the main goal for this incarnation. And the third reason I'm thinking of is whenever we incarnate for a new life experience, we come with some unresolved issues to complete, or we come with some karma to repay. So depending on what we come as an agenda with, sometimes we come with the agenda to repay a karma of having impaired another person from having children. And in that sense, we come here to experience how it feels not to be able to have children so that we understand what we have inflicted on other in a previous lifetime. So there are many reasons why a woman cannot have children in this lifetime, but it is definitely not linked to her caring and loving ability.
mm. There could also be maybe spiritual blockages as well.
Also, yes,
Mm,
it could,
mm.
yes. There are many, many reasons. And one woman can identify why she's not having children in this lifetime. This is one of the things quantum exploration can help her answer by basically helping her go back and make the link with a different lifetime or with her life agenda that will explain to her and allow her to understand why at this stage in time in her human experience she hasn't yet have children, and the things being well done on the spiritual level with the free will, we can always change our mind on our human agenda. And we can, where initially we may have decided, okay, for this incarnation, there will be no children. In the end, if we change our mind and heart, we can decide to change that agenda and to welcome children. So my recommendation for women who cannot have children is to look for, to either ask and tune into their own intuition and really pay attention to the signals and answers they get, because we always get the answer to the question we ask. The only difference is that sometimes we're not simply not able to hear it. And for the one who are not able to hear it, to seek spiritual help and guidance from someone like me or other facilitators who can help them navigate their spirituality and find their answers to the reason why they're not bearing children for now.
Ah, brilliant. Thank you so much, Orchid.
You're
Um,
welcome.
I wanted to ask you,
Mm.
have you ever been the subject of sexism and misogyny,
Mm-hmm.
or even from negativity from other women along your journey?
Yes, yes, it does happen, but it doesn't happen very often because I think the energy that I put out kind of restrain people from behaving in such a way with me. But to the rare that goes for it anyway, for the men misogynists, I just basically engage conversation with them. And I first of all remind them that the being, the gender that they gave them life, body, and nurture them initially was a gender women.
Mm,
Yes, we are women. We are, I call us the mothers of humanity. And we are not to forget that every woman given leave an imprint of their energies on men and on women and all beings they bear. And in that sense, a man who had the chance to have a loving and caring mother will
mm,
always be sensitive to a woman who is loving, caring, and joyful,
mm,
because that will reignite what he had experienced in his own life, and he will not be indifferent. He will be sensitive to it. So any man, any misogyny that I tend to face, I just basically re-tap into my femininity of being loving and caring and joyful,
mm.
and so they can see in me the sister, mother, or wife that they have or are aspiring to have.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant.
And to the women, when I face negativity from the women,
Mm,
I try not to take anything personally, because I know that we all behave based on our own experience. And a woman who would be will have a negative behavior toward another woman is because they see in that woman either something that she wishes she is or something that she has experienced as a negative. And both in both cases, the answer, as we always say, is love. So is to remain calm and loving, and basically incite that person to express who she is, how she feels, who she really is, and why she would be feeling that way towards me. And usually it just dissolves itself, because again, coming back initially is listening, feeling listened, heard, and understood um, breaks the barrier and the walls of most people, because it's validating someone just basically give the person the right to be who they are, and therefore they are less on the defensive and less aggressive to other people.
yeah, yeah, brilliant. Um,
Mm.
what do you love the most about being a woman?
I would say the fact that I have less pressure from the world to play pretend,
Mm,
because the well, all societies put a lot of pressure on men to be strong and tall and all these things, where we accept more from women to be sensitive and fragile and things like that. Therefore, women have way less pressure to pretend to be what they're not,
mm,
and and therefore we can more be who we are. So I really like that about being a woman. And I also really like, well, I love the woman body. I love my body, really. It's
mm,
I think it's from the quantum exploration that I did, I had many other experiences where I was um, a man, and I think in this lifetime, being a woman, feeling the woman body with all the menstrual things, and potentially feeling one day a life moving in my body, I think these are the things that makes me like well, being in a woman body.
yes, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Um, I love being a woman as well.
Yeah.
um, what is
Yes.
women's well-being to you? What does that mean?
Well, it means to pay attention to who we are, both physically and mentally. For me, my well-being physically is to take care of my body, to listen to it when I'm not feeling good or well, or whenever I'm feeling sick, really to listen to it and pay attention and care so that I retrieve my energy and vibrancy. And mentally, the first thing is really to listen to my intuition so that I can go in the path of least resistance, in the sense that my intuition will always give me the answer to my questions, and also guide me to the actions that will make my life easier. So yes, listening to my intuition is really has become the best thing I
Mm,
do, because yes, it just tells me, okay, now you're a bit tense, put that music on, and then straight on I put it on, and effectively it's an instant relief.
yeah,
You're feeling a bit kind of a numb at the moment. Okay, so take your food supplement and do some exercise to revitalize your body a little bit. So yes, well-being is really doing things to feel good physically and mentally, and that also goes through extracting myself from any stressful environment or any harmful environment when it's the case.
yes, that's I believe that too. The
Yeah.
intuition, it
Mhm.
really is. It helps us to live our best lives, and we are our best friends. And in the end, we can
Yes,
actually help ourselves intuitively. We want the best. We
yes,
naturally want what is best for us, and if we
yes,
listen to that and don't fight against it, we prosper. We can achieve well-being. Yeah. uh,
yes. Mm. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. But on the flip side, I don't know, not listening to it can, and also being on a spiritual journey, alone, without anybody else, that can be a lonely experience, I find. If you don't have those groups or somebody to help um to help to help you along that journey, it can be quite lonely and negative.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is. Meanwhile, the loneliness feeling is not something negative. Well, it's not something to take as a negativity
Mm,
necessarily. As everything actually in life, we experience things, and then the meaning we give to it is the meaning we give to it. It doesn't. Everything we experience doesn't have a meaning in itself. It's the meaning we give to it.
mm,
Loneliness for me actually has been uh, the condition for me to awaken my spirituality, in the
mm,
sense that in my experience, when I was going through the very challenging grieving moment,
mm,
I secluded myself, and I wouldn't I didn't want basically to interact with other beings, with other humans. And even when I wanted to, I
mm,
think my sadness level was too overwhelming for other people. And in that sense, I secluded and
mm,
other than work time, I was by myself.
mm,
And I actually used that time to, well, focus on things that I like, but at the same time to start listening and mostly acting on the intuition,
mm.
so that gradually, the more I was acting on my intuition, the more I was given tools to feel better and to understand my spirituality better. Because there are things we cannot discover other than by ourselves, and things that loneliness require, because loneliness basically takes away all the distractions from the outside world that our attention is taken to uh, all the time and at every instant. And when we are lonely, we no longer have these distractions, and we can focus and stay tuned and listen to our intuition and what it is telling us. So yes, loneliness sometimes is a necessary path
But I think what you're describing is being
to get
being
to
alone.
where we are meant to be.
Yeah, what
Mm.
you're describing
Because
is
yeah, because
being
sometimes we can,
being alone as opposed
yes.
to loneliness. So being alone is when you're there are people not around you,
Mm-hmm.
where you can do self exploration.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when you're lonely, it's
Mm-hmm.
it tends to be a negative. Lonely is
Yeah,
the
it's a
is the
feeling.
is the feeling when you are alone. So
Yes.
alone you can do the exploration, you can journey within yourself, you can
Mm-hmm.
top up your intuition
Mm-hmm.
within yourself. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling lonely, it tends
Mm-hmm.
to be a prolonged and uh, a longing for other people to be around you,
Yes.
that you can connect with. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I mean by the word lonely. So,
Yes.
like,
Okay.
have you ever felt
Oh
like
yeah,
that? You know, when
definitely.
needing other people to connect with along
Yes.
your spiritual journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. I have. Yes, I felt in my journey, basically my journey started with the passing of my sister, and I felt desperately alone when she passed because my strongest bond was with her. So
Right.
I felt really, really disconnected basically from all human beings. I
Mm,
couldn't emotionally connect with anybody else when she passed.
right.
And it lasted a very, very long time. I think, yeah, very long time. I think
Yeah.
something like 20 years or so. I could connect with people, but very on a superficial level. The deep connection I had with her, I haven't, I think to date, which is 24 years now, she passed. I
Yeah.
haven't had that type of bond with anybody.
Uh,
So the feeling of loneliness, yes, but then
you
in the craving of connecting with other people,
mm,
there is, when we feel lonely, we're looking for a specific type of connection. And personally, I find it challenging to find that specific type of connection. I can connect with people through, well, with different type of connection and friendship and loving, etc. But um, yes, this kind of a lurking lonely feeling it is to be used and completed in a different way than necessarily connecting with people. And I think where it took me is to connect with my spiritual teams more than with human beings, because in my recovery from grief process, I I basically rejected connecting with humans. And
mm,
I ended connecting with my spiritual team, and that's where I gradually got over the grieving, understood the reason why I was having it,
mm,
managed to let go, and gradually came back into the human life.
mm,
So I think the lonely feeling I'm sensing now maybe the necessary path
mm,
to connect with the spirit team more and
mm,
to my intuition more.
I see what you mean.
Because yeah, because in looking in search in looking to connect, to establish a connection, an emotional and energetic bond with someone or something. Well, in the end, I did that connection with my spiritual team.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
So it's actually helped uh,
Yes.
kind of empower you in a way spiritually.
Yes.
You suffered
Completely.
for a while, but then you pulled through the through connecting spiritually with
Mm.
people, with beings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to ask you, what does women's empowerment mean to you?
Well, it means to stand in my own feet and not rely on a man for my
Hmm.
strength.
Yeah.
Okay. For my own empowerment is basically trusting my personal strengths, my personality, who I am as an individual in the female gender. It means doing things with the same strength or similar to what men are doing. And most of all, I would say, well, I never really had empowerment issue compared to men because from very early on, I always did my own way when it comes to facing my parents' authority. Then as a teenager, I was hyperactive. So I I was, I don't know, it just happened. I just fell into martial arts. And that helped me a lot because I had loads of energy. But at the same time, it helped build my body, it helped build my physical strength and my mental strength. So whenever actually and this is something I tend to do whenever I meet someone who feels a bit weak physically and emotionally, I straight on direct them to martial arts because it's something which is so useful in all its sense, physical and mentally, that I find no better way than help somebody get empowered in this human journey. The last example I'm thinking of is my cousin who was starting to be bullied at school because of the very thin body type.
Mm.
And he just ended up becoming a Bruce Lee addict. And he does karate, and he, now that I see his pictures and stuff, he is really like I can see the posture where he's very assertive, the face, everything is really nice and assertive in him. So yes, my first recommendation to whomever doesn't feel empowered is get into martial arts.
All
It
right.
will, yeah, it will allow you to build and strengthen your mind and body,
Mm,
and all of this while being in a group settings because you interact with other people.
mm. Yeah.
So it's definitely the best recommendation. And the other thing is I took some notes regarding this empowerment thing is into, yes, as a woman, is not to hesitate to express our femininity, which for me is the joyfulness, is the kindness and the caring.
Mm,
Yes, whenever in a setting when where there are only men's,
mm,
well, I definitely don't try to be a man
mm.
because they've been playing that game way longer than I have, so they know better than me. So I play the women game, which is I am who I am, being sweet and kind and joyful.
Mm.
And if they challenge me verbally, I just remind them that their mother is a woman. So what the heck they are telling me about? That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, that kind of answers my
Yeah.
question sort of for the next one, which was how can we empower our spiritual energy? And I think you said more or less
Yeah.
being kind. and we also have to be kind and loving and
Yes.
caring towards ourselves as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
In order to empower that spiritual energy.
Mm.
Am I right? Is that how
Yes.
we? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Yes. For me, the femininity is really with the loving and caring and the joyfulness. This is the key things we are bringing to the world. Some lightness and the joyful and playful part of life,
mm,
and the caring that we brings to the one who struggles.
yeah.
Yeah, so they can feel a bit more strength into their journey.
Okay. So Zoom is telling me that time is running out, but I wanted to ask you: have you ever suffered with your mental health?
Yes, I have,
I
because
know
when
it's
my
quite a
sister,
personal question. Yeah.
sorry,
I said I
yes,
know
that's
it's quite a personal question, but it's to help other women as well who may
yes,
suffer. Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, mental health. I think through the grieving process, you go into your own mind, and basically, I was going AWOL in many direction. I think I had a syndrome of persecution, when at some point I was thinking that people were always being looking to be mean.
Mm,
Yeah, I had mental issues comes in many different ways, and it all happening within our own minds. So the first thing, again, intuition was my salvation, because the first thing was to uh, listen to the guidance of my intuition, in first place, to gather with other people who were in their spiritual journey, so that it allowed me to get a different perspective from my own journey, because where I thought I was alone and nobody could understand me, well,
mm,
in going into a retreat, I understood that everybody was battling their own battle.
mm,
So that gave me a really awakening perspective on what I was experiencing. And then listening to my intuition as to all the different tools that were out there, all the different self-empowerment facilitators that are out there, that had also messages, and actually call them my messengers,
yeah.
because each of us, through our own experience and sharing our own experience,
Mm,
bring some messages to other people, and so on. So those other facilitators, through their messages, I got my own message, and gradually I was able to recenter and refocus and get back on to a more positive mindset,
yeah.
and really focus on that aspect of where I wanted my focus and mental abilities to go, rather than let myself being overwhelmed by whatever I thought was coming at me.
Yeah.
So instead of absorbing, I
Mm,
just switched to the mode of um, expressing, the meaning it comes from me. It doesn't come from other people towards me. It comes from me
mm,
outwardly.
mm. Yes. Yeah. So
Yes.
these uh it was overwhelming. Your thoughts were overwhelming at one point, and that meant your mental health was suffering. But then you were able to, um,
Flip over. Flip it over from
yeah,
receiving to giving out.
right. That's good. Yeah. So,
Mm.
so uh, you were able to, and how did you do that?
It's basically understanding that my my mood depends on me, not on other people. My thought is what I decide they are, not what I hear they are.
Right.
It's The life is what I choose it to be, not what other people impose on me for it to be.
Okay.
Yes, so it all comes from me, not from other people imposing on me.
So it's like the world and the spiritual world just coming at you uh all the time, and then you were able, what you did was this is what I'm understanding, that you then uh, you you were then able
Decided.
to take control. Yes, you're able to take
Yes.
control of that and decide
Mm-hmm.
what you allowed into your being and what you wouldn't allow into your being, and also to um to give out more as well, give out uh in a loving and caring way, I'm guessing.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. Loving and caring way when it's all well and fine. Meanwhile, I also step my ground when there are some to set the boundaries when needed.
mm, yes.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
was
Mm-hmm.
what would you say is the most important thing you've learned about women's mental health personally and also generally for all women? So yeah,
I
what
would
would you
say
say?
I've learned to listen to my intuition and set boundaries.
Hmm,
Yeah, the boundaries are very important as to what I allow in to what I do not allow in.
right. That is good. Yeah.
Mm.
That's, thank you so much for coming. Yeah. Um,
You're welcome.
I wanted to just ask, so how can you help women that might be suffering from, that feel, that maybe feel lonely and feel, because we do um like circles and Zooms and activities for women, but how
Mm-hmm.
would you say you could help women that are feeling lonely, are suffering mentally, and needing guidance, that would want to
Okay.
come to you?
Two things. Okay, two things I would say. The first one is there is a need to identify the reason why each individual is going through the experience she's going through, because it's the root cause analysis that will help cure the symptoms. You need to go to the core of the reason why you're experiencing whatever you are experiencing.
Mm,
And once you understand that reason why, you need to accept.
mm,
Yes, if, for example, you're experiencing whatever you're experiencing due to a karma repayment, you need to understand that, yes, you inflicted that on somebody else. Therefore, now you are to experience this in order to understand what it is and therefore accept that experience. The
mm,
acceptance is already one step forward, because then you stop fighting it, you just accept it, experience it, and then be done with it.
mm,
That's the first thing. The second thing is once you've identified the root cause of the reason why you're experiencing whatever you are,
mm,
and you accepted it, and then it's to share with other people your experience, how you facing it, how you overcoming it, so
mm,
that it can be useful to other people and also hear other people, because again, in the exchange, you are listening, you're understanding, you're validating other people, and we all need to be heard and validated. So in the Zoom exchange we do, I
mm,
think it's a very good thing at that moment to share what we are going through, because then they could be in the group. Usually they are, because we are all brought together on purpose for specific um, exchange. Usually it's a give and take. Spirits tend to work that way, so that we can give out something that can be useful to somebody else and take something that can be useful to us. So
okay.
in the Zoom group exchange, that can be definitely happening.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Orchid. And it's been
You're
wonderful
most welcome.
speaking with you.
Thank
Um,
you.
it's great that you came and did these questionings. I think the Zoom is going to cut off now, but yeah,
Okay.
you're most
All right.
welcome. And I'd love to be able to interview you again sometime.
Yes, with great pleasure. Thank you
Okay.
very much for inviting me.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a lovely, wonderful day.
Thank you. Likewise. Bye for now.